Hi, in this video I want to talk about mixing, how it sounds before and after mixing. In this case, I did a mix recently for an artist from Chicago. He lives in Germany, his name is Nate Goering, and he did the production with a good friend of mine, a musician, fellow musician, Jan Jakob. He is a producer. And they sent me the files and they sent me a good rough mix. And that's for me a great starting point for a mix, because the most of the time a rough mix is done just by emotions and feelings. And to me, as a musician, as a mixer and producer, that's the most important part of a song. The emotions, the feel. It's not about techniques, it's about the feel. And what I try to do is to capture the idea of the rough mix and bring it a step further. Just to work out what's already there to its best. And I think it's a good idea to just listen to the rough mix at first, and then I will blend over to the final mix I did. Let's start with the verse. In this case, it's an acoustic song with different percussion, drum elements, piano, acoustic guitars, bass, backing vocals. All right, so let's have a listen to the verse, and then I will blend over to the final mix.
I can make colors. I've been known to make shapes sometimes too. I can take this crayon, trace my hand. I'll create a turkey for you.
The rough mix is great. You have an idea of the style, the feel, and what the artist is trying to achieve. So let's listen to it again, and then I will blend over while we are listening to the rough mix.
I can make colors. I've been known to make shapes sometimes too. I can take this crayon, trace my hand. I'll create a turkey for you.
And what you can hear immediately is that the vocals are a little bit more upfront and they have a little bit more crispiness in the sound. The low end is a little more defined. But I worked on the muddiness of the rough mix. There was a kind of struggling and fighting low frequencies in the rough, and I tried to organize that. So let's listen to the rough again, and I will blend over to the final mix.
I can make colors. I've been known to make shapes sometimes too. I can take this crayon, trace my hand. I'll create a turkey for you.
And of course we have some little room effects on the percussion, and all over the stereo image is a little bit wider in the final mix. But I try to capture the feel of the rough mix and the attitude. So let's move on to what I call the pre-chorus of the song. We listen to the rough mix and then I will blend over to the final mix.
I can make you laugh. I can make you cry.
And the final mix.
I can make you laugh. I can make you cry.
Let's go back to the rough again.
I can make you laugh. I can make you cry.
And the final mix.
I can apologize. I can make amends.
And I think the most prominent aspect of the final mix in this case is the vocals are much more defined, more clearer, more upfront. The stereo image and the low end is much more defined and to my ears more round and clear. But I have to say, as you can hear, the arrangement is just great. They were searching for the right elements, sound-wise and performance-wise. Everything has its place, and to be honest, that's the best starting point for a good mix. When the arrangement is good, then the mix will be good. If the arrangement is bad, you can handle something in the mix, but it's always a struggle. So a good mix starts with a good arrangement, and the guys did a great arrangement on that.
I can make you laugh, I can make you cry.
We go back to the rough.
I can apologize, I can make...
Let's move on to the chorus, and we start with the rough mix.
We can make up, we can make out, we can make a people.
And
I watched her take a crayon in her little hand. She can make colors, yeah.
yeah, it opens up a little bit more in the final mix, but as I said, the rough mix is great because the arrangement is good, and the idea of the rough mix is good.
We can make up, we can make out, we can make a people. I watched her take a crayon in her little hand. She can...
The levels are quite the same in the final mix, but I think the rough mix sounds a little bit more like in a living room mix, just at home, a little bit closer and not so wide and crisp, and the final mix opens up a little bit more. Okay, let's move on to the hook. I call that the hook in the song. We start with the rough mix.
Hallelujah.
And the final mix. In that part, it was a little tricky to find the right spot frequency-wise for the upright bass and the low end of the percussion and kicks. So just listen to the rough again and focus on the low end, the bass, and the percussion, djembe and kick drums. There's kind of muddiness going on here in the bass and in the kick, and I try to get rid of that and just give every instrument the right spot in place. Yeah, there's a low mid build, and I think it's a little clearer in the final mix. Yeah, and even though it's arranged very well and played very well, these are the typical issues you have to work on in a mix, just to get that low mid and low end area clear, and work on that. Okay, let's move on to the outro, because the outro is much more busy. Arrangement wise, there are much more backing vocals and e-guitar and synth and stuff going on. So let's start with the rough mix, and I will blend over to the final mix.
Ted, go to that game, watch him ride the bench.
And the final mix.
Ted, go to that game, watch him ride the bench. Lay that hardwood.
Rough mix.
Write a love note, plan a date. Tell her she's lovely, she doesn't know. Grab that.
That's the climax of the song, so to say. And that was the spot and the moment when I worked on some delays and reverbs and kind of stuff on the lead vocals and on the backing vocals as well. And as you can hear in the rough mix, the vocals are quite dry. I think the delays and the reverb comes from the synth. So, but I think the vocals are dry in the rough mix.
Write a love note, plan a day.
Yeah, the vocals are bone dry, and the synth is giving that image of whiteness and delay and stuff and room. So in the final mix, I worked with delays and reverbs just to create that enhancement and excitement of the vocal, because it's the climax of a song and the vocals have to fly.
Write a love note, plan a date. Tell her she's lovely, she doesn't know. Grab that girl and don't let her go.
Especially in that part, grab that girl and don't let it go. That's the climax, and I try to help the vocals just fly.
Grab that girl and don't let her go. Teach.
Let's listen to the rough again.
Grab that girl and don't let her go. Teach them to pray, teach them to climb. Spin him around 1,000 times. Write a new song, paint a family, create a new world with me.
Yeah, that was a blast mixing that song. Nate did a great job on composing it. Both of them, they did a great job on arranging and producing the track, and so it was much more easier for me to mix the song because of the great arrangement and the performance. I hope you liked the video. Please feel free to leave some comments down below. I would love to read them and learn from you, and I wish you all the best. See you next time and have a great day. Bye bye.